at this Texas team. This is the worst Texas team you've had in 3 years. It's probably the worst Texas team you'll have in the next 3 years. And this is definitely the best team Oklahoma's had since Brent Venables took over the job. And you still got your ass whipped. Blame who you want to blame, whatever. The programs, both of these programs are measured on how they compete with each other. Welcome back to Hall of Fame College Football. I'm your host, Jason Watkins, and if you love college football, WTF, how is Monsieur healthy if he was bleeding and looking at his hand every 10 seconds? Hawkins is good enough to get a shot. I'm so baffled about this whole thing. I'm starting to question Brent's decision-making with offense stuff. Still no running game, too. Bad O-line, too. OU needs to get Indiana coach Kurt. Dude, maybe. Why can't Brent just get demoted to D coordinator? Maybe it would be best for him so he can handle personal issues at home, etc. As bad as Mateer was throwing the ball, we would have been better off playing the third quarterback if they don't trust Hawkins. It makes zero sense. Yeah, look, I'm not going to address I'm not going to address Kurt Signetti, nor will you ever hear me floating the idea of Brent Venables taking a demotion to defensive coordinator at Oklahoma. These are things that are unrealistic, and quite frankly, I don't want anything to do with the Kurt Signetti thing, just so you know. I know I may be in the minority as far as that's concerned, but I'm not going to address that part. The injury part is a whole other story. But not trusting Michael Hawkins. Let's go there first. Not trusting Michael Hawkins was about as dumb as it gets, if you ask me. If as anyone with a brain can see, that his skill set is far and away superior to, I think, a majority of quarterbacks in the SEC, much less the entire country. So, especially when the guy that they do continue to trust has as many interceptions as he has touchdowns this season, and he's bleeding all over the place as this guy talked about, this borderless dating guy, whoever he may be. But the injury part is a whole other story that we can get into more, and we will in just a second. But if we're pretending that that injury doesn't exist, right? If that's what we're going to do, we're going to pretend that the injury doesn't exist. You can't then pretend that Mateer is not throwing into triple coverage with wide open receivers streaking down the field, or, nor that if you want to use the quarterback run game as much as it seems like they do, that Hawkins is more set up for that than even Mateer is. We're talking about a guy that is probably the fastest guy on the team and the guy that most likely to be able to make somebody miss, if you ask me. Again, this is just my feelings on things, but I don't understand how we would even have a second guess about that. The bottom line for me is that OU is now in a very precarious situation, heading into a tough road environment this weekend, albeit against a team that isn't very good in South Carolina. They're not. I expect the defense to, again, eat very well. They just fired their offensive line coach. This D-line is as good as it gets when it comes to getting pressure. They didn't get home much against Texas, but they are great at getting pressure. They do still have a formidable pass rush at South Carolina with Dylan Stewart, and even they have their other guys probably just as good, if not better. So that's an issue with the offensive line that you have. But if the offense is going to sputter under the Sooners, and with doing things with Mateer back in the game early on, it could make for a long day again, chasing Lenore Sellers around. And if you get into a situation like you got into against Texas, sooner or later, even the best defenses are going to start cracking if they're on the field like they were in the second half this weekend. It it's going to make a playoff run highly unlikely if you don't go down there and get a win. This is the worst team that you play on this schedule the rest of the way. The worst team you play on this schedule the rest of the way, without a doubt. So if you can't go win there, what would make me think that you're going to go and win the rest of them against better teams when you would have to win the rest of them to be at a 10-2 and go into the playoff for sure? If you were to lose one more, you might still have a chance to get to the playoff, but a lot of that's going to depend on how the rest of the SEC shakes out. It may or may not work itself out. I know that everybody is going to keep saying, well, right now the schedule is still a gauntlet and it's still going to be the way it is, but I would tell you that that's not a guarantee, guys. It's just not a guarantee. All right. Let me see where we're at here. Watkins didn't see the field after that performance. When will he? I hate to say it, but I think he'll transfer. I don't think there's any doubt. I don't think there's any doubt. Yeah, I'm not ready to do this either. The let's fire him after one loss is a little wild, guys. And I'm trying to put this into perspective. That's why I'm going to address what you guys have been saying, a lot of you guys and all that kind of stuff. But Hawkins might have wanted to maintain his red shirt. Nowadays, it's athlete's choice. We don't know anything, but the response is all I care about. Listen, I'm going to say this. If you're going to tell me that Hawkins wasn't willing to play in the Red River game, I'm going to tell you bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on this one. He's only played in 3 games. So if you play in a 4th game, you can still redshirt if that's the case. That's not where we are on this right now. I think it very well it would have more to do with what he's not. I mean, could you see him redshirting at the moment because he didn't get a chance to play in this last one? Absolutely. It definitely hurts more because it's Texas. All right, I'm going to move on to this next one. Talking about the injury itself, My Gun Sweetness says Mateer couldn't grab a water bottle. I didn't feel good about Mateer starting this week. I told y'all let Hawkins handle Texas. Our head coach OC don't trust Hawkins and just lying to Hawkins and all of us Oklahoma fans. Texas should have had 4 or more interceptions. Put an extra O-line for tight end. I missed because of D-Mac's show. Oh, he was talking about the other one. But BV Wilson and Buck better figure this out before Saturday. Spread them out. You can run a little bit. Would love to see. Elijah Thomas is what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, I can see that as well. Talking about that a little bit. I mean, obviously, look. Let me get back to that. What he was saying. Oops. Not being able to grab a water bottle. I mean, look, man, to me, it was pretty clear that he was injured. And even if you want to say that early part of the game that he wasn't, okay, cool. He hit some shots, whatever. But okay, if we're gonna talk about that he wasn't injured early on, you can't tell me that he wasn't injured late because he did. If you look at the back of his leg where he kept rubbing it on that, it was to get the blood off of his hand. He didn't have good grip on the ball anymore. Even if it was re-injured, that's a concern this week too. That would be a concern for you this week. If you think you're going to go win, it's wild to think that you're going to be able to, do that with, an injured hand that you might have re-injured for that matter. They're saying no, but I don't know what to believe at this point. And I don't know that I believe that you would switch out if need be. Because again, I feel like if you weren't going to say it because it was because of his injury issue or whatever, which would have been a great excuse to pull him out of the game last week, you also could say, well, you know what? He just wasn't playing good. And these are the kind of decisions that as a head coach, you got to be willing to make. You have to be willing to make those decisions. So that's what concerns me on that end. All right. Let me go to the next one. Yeah. this is kind of says more about what I was just saying. Even if his thumb felt okay, it didn't. His timing was way off, and there's no way in hell they didn't see if he they no way there's no way in hell they didn't see this if he was practicing with the ones. If he wasn't practicing with the ones, they're lying even harder. And for what? See, this is the part I don't understand too. Again, more to the fact that, I mean, come on, man, don't sit here and act like we don't see what's going on, right? There's no way to sit here and act like we don't see what's going on. Um, it, these are one of those deals that you start wondering, okay, why do you do that? Why would you even pretend like that? Because it's, to me, acting like the fan base is stupid is not the way to go about it either. And it just doesn't make sense. And on top of that, had you not played him at all, or even if you pull him out because of the injury stuff and you don't want to get him hurt more, um, and you save him for another day, then if you get to a 9-3 situation and they're like, well, they played the better part of that game against Texas. Let's say you lose with Michael Hawkins. I'm not positive that you do, but let's say you do. Then they could still say, okay, yeah, you lost that game. They probably lost that game because they didn't have their starter in. He's come back and played great at the end of the year, blah, blah, blah. You're in a better position for the playoffs at the end of the year for that reason, right? That's how I feel about that part. Let's see what else we got. Next one is, this is a good one. What has bothered me the most about Arbuckle's inability to adjust to his personnel? It's like watching Latrell all over again with tight ends in the game. Any plays that he has with tight ends in the game, he just needs to scrap. Only formation with the tight end should be an empty set so that there's an option for the wide receiver screen. Just coming off of an armchair quarterback myself. Look, I like this take, to be honest with you. Again, uh, you heard this one from Gabe the other night, or on Sunday, from Gabe and Teddy, where he was talking about these are the worst tight ends. He called them the worst tight ends in the SEC without a doubt. And especially if we're talking about blocking wise, there's no way he's wrong, right? So that tells you that if you're doing anything that requires one of these two guys, or even having a guy like Caden Helms, who, he's struggled himself as far as that goes too. You know, it, we're talking about situations that these guys aren't blocking well, and if the success or failure of your play depends on whether or not these guys get a block out there, then you might as well just figure for failure. So why are we doing it? It doesn't make a lot of sense. Let's see. Let's see. We got a bunch here. Yeah, they do. I wouldn't put that on Helms so much. He's been hurt. He got a broken hand at the start of the year. And listen, he got hurt a lot over the last couple of years too. In the end, you got to put this on who you got to put it on. I mean, what is Jojon doing? What's going on with that? Hopefully they do better, but it is what it is. I don't know. Y'all keep blaming coaches. The plays were there offensively and defensively. Players didn't execute. Defensively, the players didn't execute. Six-fold. Have you lost your mind? You realize that the first half of this game, let me just say something here. Oklahoma had double the time of possession in the first half because of the defense's dominance of that offense that Texas had. It swapped in the second half because after a while where your offense cannot stay on the field, that was a problem. If you're going to, and this is what pisses me off about Coach Venables, that you're going to go in there and you made it about the defense and what they didn't do. They missed some tackles here and there and stuff, instead of making it about the fact that your offense can't move the fucking football. And for the third time in 4 years in this game, didn't score a touchdown. What are we talking about? Arch was awesome in the second half, maybe. And I wouldn't say that. Wild. Defense only had 1 TD scored against them, correct. That's absolutely correct. They went out there and yeah, and come on, man. You guys, you gotta be better than that. You know better than to say that kind of dumb stuff on here. All right. I'm gonna go to the last slide. Okay. And it's talking about this. BV also needs to stop being the DC at the press conference and be a head coach and say what everyone sees. The offense needs to improve and is currently holding this team back. I don't know how that's hard for anybody to see. I did watch the film, Sixfo. I did watch the film. I did watch the film. I would tell you, I'm going to tell you this. You can sit there and say things like that. Yes, there were open, and that goes back to what I was just saying earlier. Guess what? If Mateer's not getting the job done, whether it was because of an injury or it was because of him just not playing well because he hadn't played in 3 weeks, it is the job of the head coach, not the offensive coordinator, the head coach, to make the choice to pull him out of the game. If you're going to sit there and just try to be, you act like these coaches are doing no wrong. It's their football team. That's ridiculous too. The defense has a job to do regardless of what. Bro, bro, are you serious here? So they're supposed to be on the field for 20 of the 30 minutes in the second half and make every tackle, never make a mistake at all. They only gave up 1 touchdown. And we're going to blame this one on the defense. That's what you're telling me? Bro, wake up. Wake up. Wake the hell up. Good God, man. 9-3 is where I see us going. Wasn't getting the job done because he was being selfish. That's one way you could put it. I'm not going to put this on Mateer for the simple fact that he doesn't get to make the decisions on who plays and who doesn't. And today in the press conference, Venables was still praising him. Big praise. Look, you got to call it what it is. The dude did not play well. Need both sides of the ball to win games. Absolutely. That's what you call it. Stopped being complimentary football, Cherry Bear. It absolutely stopped being complimentary football. And you can blame the defense if you want to, but it tells me you don't really have an idea of what you're talking about. What up, Johnny boy? What do I not know is an absolute? Oh, what? But the being selfish part. No, it's not on him. I agree with you on that part. It's not on him. It's not on him. It's on the coaching staff to make that decision. Yeah. Mhm. I'm not saying he didn't know what he was doing out there. And look, I think that there's some level of, you look. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that there's no truth to what you're saying. But to his credit, he's owned it that he played poorly. To me, it's the fact that you didn't ever try to like help this. Even if I don't care how you approach him. I don't care how you approach him and say, look, we're gonna let the kids see what he can do. We still have a chance to win this game. You're not getting it done. It looks like you're having some problems. You got blood all over you. And honestly, we can't have the turnovers. This guy has 6 interceptions. It's the same amount of touchdowns that he's thrown, right? So you can't whether you want to blame it on the injury, don't want to blame it on the injury. I don't really care. 6 and 6 is not exactly the right number. It's a bad number for this school. But in the end, you got to look at it. He didn't get the job done. So at some point, they should have pulled him out, and that's a coach's decision. Are you tired of your game day gear looking like it's stuck in the offseason? Well, step up your fandom with Hall of Fame College Football's official Fanatics partner store. Whether you're a diehard Oklahoma Sooners fan like myself, bleeding crimson and cream, or you rep another one of the SEC's heavy hitters, Fanatics has you covered. Shop thousands of officially licensed hats, jerseys, sideline polos, and exclusive championship merch from the entire Power 4 and Group of 6 too. All shipped directly to your doorstep and fast. Want to gear up like your favorite coaches and players? Are you looking for that perfect tailgate tee or a statement piece for your man cave? Fanatics is your one-stop shop for authentic college football gear from everybody that plays the game. So do yourself and your team a favor. Click our link in the description or simply log on to hofmedia.us/fanatics. That's hofmedia.us/fanatics. And you can shop everything that you want for the best prices of the day right on our Fanatics partner page. And they never did it. They never did it. Think with the OU defense getting so much praise, you'd think they would have forced some turnovers, but they still seem to struggle with that halfway through the season. Whatever, bro. You're just talking shit. So that just shows they don't trust Hawkins. When Mateer leaves, they'll find another experienced QB in the portal. When he leaves, I don't know when that's going to be if he's not going to play better. Who we got? Josh Crenshaw, longtime listener, appreciate the content with BB. It's frustrating that we can't recruit, coach, and retain top-tier offensive linemen. In my opinion, we should never be this thin on the line. Yeah, I think that goes back to like that 2020, 2021, where you get into this cycle of not getting enough guys. They did okay with it for a couple of years. They were able to kind of mitigate it with the portal and stuff like that. And then they didn't last year, and it hasn't worked out this year. I would also say, thank you for the super chat, by the way. I think you also have to realize that part of that too is that, look, if you're just playing the portal game, and to some extent you have to, I mean, look at Texas is also in this situation. Texas is also in this situation. They lost another guy during the game the other day, and and that caused them. They didn't move the ball hardly at all. If you look at the first half of play, they went punt, missed field goal in the first quarter. They went field goal, end of half in the second quarter. They had one play -1 yard that ended the half, right? They come back out there in the second half and score a touchdown, 14-play drive. That was great for them. But again, they switched that sequence at the end of the half where you lost momentum and then some had a lot to do with and adjustments. I mean, you got to give Texas credit for the adjustments that they made at the end of that. It is what it is. But at some point, you have to be willing to go and let's try something else. We know that Hawkins is fully healthy. And look, I'm going to say this one more time. If you're one of those people that's going to come in here and try to tell me that Hawkins is terrible, you don't know shit about football. You haven't watched him at all, and you're listening to some dipshit that doesn't know shit about football. Something. Because the guy is as fast as anybody on the team. He might be the one guy that makes people miss in open space on the team, because we haven't seen any of that going on. And if we're going to run the quarterback run game a lot, he's definitely faster than Mateer. Plus, he doesn't have a broken thumb, and he can throw the ball and not be 5 yards offline either way. I'm just saying. And you know what? If he goes in there and doesn't play any better, then so be it. At least you gave it a shot. I feel like you left bullets in the chamber and didn't go fire them off in what is the most important game of every season at Oklahoma or Texas. It's the biggest game of the year. Yeah, well, I would think he would if he doesn't play a lot better for the rest of the year. Um, I know it's a different ball game, but look at Ohio State versus Illinois. Ohio State gave up almost the same amount of total yards on offense and the same amount of points. The difference is Ohio. What is that? Oh, you mean the offense? Oh, coach is back. All right. Second here. Got coach everything all right?
Yeah, everything's good. Just had a little hiccup at one of the houses. Thank goodness they're just a few blocks from me.
Right. I feel you. I feel you. Let's see. All right, man. Fix this real.
You know, Jason, as you're looking for what you're looking for, I'm just going to say one thing. You know, and I
Yeah.
already saw some of the messages in here about fire, so and so. Guys, one game doesn't make a season, and 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 we need to remember one thing, guys. Whether we like it or not, no matter who's playing great and who's not, it's a rivalry game, guys. Rivalry games. Hey, we're going into one this weekend. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Anything can happen. Anything at all. You know, and that's just a fact. And you don't base your season on one football game. And hell, I know it hurts. Shit, if we get by USC, I'll be
Well,
struggling through that.
yeah. No doubt. No doubt. And I guess here's where I'm at on it. That's what bothers me the most. Right. Um, and this is a stupid comment that you made, Crunch. He doesn't like Mateer, always calls him that dude. I have never said that I don't like John Mateer. Not one time.
Never heard that.
I've never said that. I'm saying you play the guy that's healthy in this situation so that you can get back to Mateer when he's healthy. That's what I've been saying. I'm sending you out of here for the day. I'm sick and tired of you idiots that say dumb shit like this. And I'm not going to put up with it. Bye. I'm just not dealing with the shit.
Hasta la vista, baby. If you do it again, we're going to throw tortillas at you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Here's the thing that my biggest problem is, and this is something that I heard them say on Gabe and Teddy, and it's a tough thing to swallow. This is a tough pill to swallow right here because no matter how you look at it, and this is a bother for me. I hate him saying this, but this is 2 years in a row I've went and watched this debacle in Dallas in person. It's an
Yep.
expensive trip, and to see them lay an egg is bullshit, right? Offensively lay an egg when defensively you're playing well enough to win and then some.
Right.
And then some.
Yep.
So my deal is, on top of that, look, if you look at this Texas team, this is the worst Texas team you've had in 3 years. It's probably the worst Texas team you'll have in the next 3 years. And this is definitely the best team Oklahoma's had since Brent Venables took over the job. And you still got your ass whipped. Blame who you want to blame, whatever. The programs, both of these programs are measured on how they compete with each other. They are. And right now, I think it's fair to say that Texas is ahead of Oklahoma by a little bit. By a little bit. And that sucks.
Yeah.
We went 10-2 with DG. Listen, we don't have DG and we don't have Cherry Bear. We don't got DG and we don't have Jeff Lebby. Neither one of those guys are here. In the last 2 years, the offense has gone, and listen, I think that the offense has shown signs. There's talent there. I don't think that you're completely out of the woods for the playoff this year. Coach just said you're 5-1. I'm not alarming. I'm not sounding the alarms and saying we got to fire these guys. That is not what I'm saying. Okay, I'm not doing the Sooner Cowboy shit. That's not what I'm doing here. What I'm telling you is is that this game coming up this weekend, you cannot afford for one team to beat you twice. You can't. You can't get beat next week because you got beat this week. Coach, I'm sure you've went through this before. Are you getting kind of where I'm at on this? Like, you lose a game, it's tough. You've got you may have some injuries, whatever's going on, but what it is that really bothers you is going through that more and more.
Yeah.
How do you handle something like that in that situation? Where do you have to go as a coaching staff?
Well, as a coaching staff, you got to sit down and again, film study, film study, film study, and what are our issues offensively? What are our issues in all three phases? And let's focus on those. And if you feel like you have 10 issues on offense, which that's a lot, but let's say you got 5 issues on offense. Fix the most important 3, and try to get those to work and meld into a better process, better outcome. And as coaches, it's going to be critical for the coaching staff to remain on a positive side of the equation. I mean, because as a coach, you see 2 types of coaches. When coaches get beat like that, you got coaches that just, I mean, they melt. It's a meltdown, and they want to chew the players' asses out, and they want, at the end of the day, that's not going to help you. You need to get people back on track, fix the things that need to be fixed, and get ready for the next opponent. I mean, that one's behind you. You can't go back and change the outcome. So let's change the outcome for the next ball game. And that's, if you stay on the positive side of the equation, you're going to be a lot better off. And I know a lot of us in here, we think about the old days. Well, coach would have kicked our ass, and we'd have done this and would have done that. But guys, times have changed, and again, I learned as my career moved on, I learned that you got to become more positive down the stretch. I mean, no matter what the outcome was. I mean, I know just this year, guys, with my football team with Fighting Irish, we got beaten week 1 by Miami by 3. We didn't have time to recover. We had Texas A&M the next week. Hell, we're basically if we get the ball, if our holder holds the ball on the extra point instead of dropping it, we're tied and probably going to overtime in that ball game. But that didn't happen. That outcome that we wanted didn't happen, and so you got to move forward. You guys got a whole season ahead of you, 5-1, man. You got a lot of ball games. If I'm glad the coaches aren't like some of the fans I'm reading on here, because I'm telling you what, if they were, your 5-1 would probably be 5-2 and 5-3 and 5-4. But those coaches, they're gonna regroup, get the team going back in the right direction, and you can't base everything on one football game. Although it's your biggest rivalry, that you have, you can't do that. You got to regroup and keep pushing forward.
Yeah, I agree. And I would address the same thing. I'm addressing this by putting it up on the screen, but Kyle, you're saying that he's not good at passing. I don't agree with that. Number one. Number two, what the hell do you think that was Saturday? Was that good passing? He passed 52% completion. Whether that's about the injury or about the way he's playing, because of the way he's playing, it doesn't matter. That's not good enough. That's not good enough, which is why it bothers me that they're making these, that you just wouldn't go do that. that you wouldn't find a way. You wouldn't at least give it a shot. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. No harm, no foul. No harm, no foul. But you have to give every effort to go win this football game.
Yep.
You have to give every effort to win this football game.
Yeah, Mateer shouldn't have been in the ball game.
No. I mean, he shouldn't have. And you can say in hindsight. What do you mean in hindsight? We were saying this before. We said this on this show last week. I said it. I said that I questioned it even after they were basically saying that Mateer was going to play on Thursday by making him probable. I said that I thought it was definitely a risk, and it's the kind of risk that can get you fired.
You said that last week, and Kyle, you must have not listened because I did a small dissertation over Mateer not needing to play. So you must not have been on last week. So if you weren't on and weren't listening, don't make asinine statements.
That's 6-4. You're not paying attention to what is being said. You've got it in your head that I'm saying to bench the guy. You've got it in your head that I'm saying to bench the guy. That's not what I'm saying. I said he probably shouldn't have played last week, and at some point he should have been pulled out last week. And hopefully he's better this week and doesn't have that same problem, because you've made it real clear that you don't want to they've made it real clear that he's healthy and he's going to go out there and play. I hope that he's better this week. And if he's not, I hope that they will have the nerve to pull him out of the game. This is not about John Mateer.
It's about your quarterback.
If you're just going to put this on, this is just about, look, I'm not blaming John Mateer. What I'm saying is you better be willing to, for the rest of this football team, you've got to play the right guy. You've got to put the guy in that's healthy enough to be able to go and win football games. I'm going to say this again. South Carolina is not a good football team. They're not a good football team. You should go over there and win.
Guys, and again, what Jason is saying, it's not about material. It's not about a name on the back of the jersey. It's about the position, and what does that position, whether it's quarterback, it's your free safety, it's your Mike linebacker, it's your wide receiver. If they can't give you the production that your team needs to be successful,
who gives a shit what they want?
You gotta get them out of the game.
That's right.
And first of all, you got to make a decision prior to the game, because the question is, and I don't know the answer to this: how much work did he get before the game?
They said he practiced all week. They were indoors all week, and they said that he was practicing. They said he was practicing well, mental and all that. I don't know that I buy any of it.
Right.
I don't think that I buy any of it. I think that he was certainly at one point, and he did get hit on one of the runs because they like to run the quarterback run with him. He got hit, right?
Right. Well, and that's
I'm not listening to all that. I'm not listening to all the last year stuff about Hawkins when it wasn't a good situation for him. The same people that'll sit there and take up for Jackson Arnold because of the situation at Oklahoma will not take up for Michael Hawkins because of the situation at Oklahoma. You guys are morons.
Well, and guys, again, when you have a loss like this, it definitely hurts deeply as a fan. Our emotions get involved, and we say things that sometimes, don't make a lot of sense. Guys, the other thing we all got to understand is those coaches are with them almost 24/7 practices, and obviously they believed he was ready to go. Now, probably one of the things, if they were working out indoors, I'm sure he wasn't taking any hits. I'm sure they had the red jersey on him, and he wasn't taking any hits. And you know, you knew Texas was going to attack that hand, and they were going to attack Mateer. I mean, that's part of the game. You hate to see it happen, but that's part of the game. And I think some of that obviously happened
Yeah.
in the ball game.
Again, again, this is not one of those. I'm not sitting here bad mouthing Mateer himself. I'm telling you that I don't understand how you punt on this football game at any point. I don't. When you even after, I mean, I think that you should have been able to tell after he made the first 2 interceptions that you could have figured this out, that you need to, if nothing, try to get a spark with the kid. He's healthy, he's faster than Mateer. Maybe you can get something going in the run game. You change the look and the complexity. You make an adjustment at halftime. I mean, this is another thing that we've seen some struggles with in games for the offense and for the defense, for that matter. Last year they had games that they were ahead of at the half and did not play well in the second half. The adjustments were, if anybody made a good adjustment this week, it was absolutely Texas and not Oklahoma. So just going to, okay, hey, guess what? We're gonna sit you down and we're gonna try Hawkins here. We're gonna see if we can get a spark. We're gonna change the game plan up a little bit from what that gets your coach, your coordinator, play caller thinking of, okay, what should we do to give him some what should we do to give him some plays that are going to be successful in, right? So you start thinking in a different way than what you're thinking about on trying to protect Mateer from himself and whatever it is, him being your guy, all that other stuff. Now you're thinking about, how do we go win this damn game? And guess what? You could have forced that on Ben Arbuckle by you making the decision as Brent Venable of pulling out Mateer. Because there's no way that you can tell me that after those, bad turnovers that he was in good position at that point. He wasn't. So it is what it is, man.
It is. It is. Hey, you got a chance. They have a chance to redeem themselves in a few more days.
Mm-hmm.
4 days, and they got a chance to redeem themselves, and you kick the shit out of them, and everybody will be happy again.
Jaron O'Neill says, I don't think most people can separate who gives you the best opportunity to win in the game versus who they like or who fits the system. Yeah, Mike should have started and played the first half, or at least played the second half. I agree with you on that.
Your coaches better have that that way of making those decisions.
Yeah. I'm agreeing with you. Why can't any of our skill guys make people miss? Man, let's preach about that one. Son of a bitch. They get the ball in open field and they run right into the first tackler they see. It drives me nuts. And you've got some guys that are fast. Right. And I mean, look, look, bro. 6-4. I don't blame the coaches for trusting their starting quarterback. Yeah, it didn't work out because of the results. It didn't work out because of the results. You're acting like they didn't have an opportunity to fix I mean, look, if you leave bullets in your gun, you didn't do everything you should do in a firefight, okay? If you leave bullets in the gun, you didn't do everything you need to do in the game. They didn't. They were abysmal in the second half. I just told you what the first half was for Texas. Let me tell you about the second half for Oklahoma. Punt, interception, punt, downs in the game. 10 minutes of time that they had the ball in the second half. Punt, interception, turnover on downs.
Not bueno.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Thanks, man. Thanks. I just want to see. I want to see Oklahoma win as much as you do. And here's the deal. Like I said, you got a chance to go over there and win this week. You need to go win this week. Everything. Look, winning cures all. There's no doubt about it. But I'm not the only one that's over here that's disagreeing with the game plan. I'm not. Everybody's favorite Sooner content creators, Gabe and Teddy, were trashing the offensive game plan on Sunday night. Trashing it. I'm not in this boat by myself here, guys. And if I was, I wouldn't give a shit about that either. Because it's not wrong. It's not wrong. You got to figure out what to do. And yes, the gauntlet is here. Now, look, I'm going to tell you that I believe that Texas they're not the third best team that you're going to play on this last stretch of teams. They're not. They're not. You got Alabama, Mizzou, and then Ole Miss. All three of those teams right there are better than Texas, without a doubt. And you still got them left. So you're going to have to put points on the board. I don't give a shit how good the defense is. And it's unbelievable. You got to score points. If you don't find a way to put points on the board and play complementary football, you're not going to the playoff. And you may not win the requisite 8 games required for him to keep this job. You talk about hot seat stuff. Hot seat could be still coming for Brent Venables. He recruits great. I love the culture stuff that they work on. I love all that shit. I'm a fan of Brent Venables. You have to be willing to make the tough decisions as a head coach. You have to be.
Hey, Franklin recruited great too.
Yeah.
His ass is looking for a new job.
Listen,